Kumu storytelling, additional options. My apologies, I have a terrible cold, but I just need to get this done because it's driving me crazy. So bear with me. I'm going to walk through creating a presentation using all of the various and sundry additional options that one might employ in developing a presentation, and we'll see how this goes. So, one, on the title page itself, you can put in the title, and you can also put in a subtitle, which shows up here. You can put in a URL, JPEG, PNG, whatever, that represents the background, and here you can attach a link that provides an attribution for that background, which shows up down here, and it's a good thing to do, depending upon where you get the links from. In terms of the size of this image, it sort of depends upon the size that you typically want to do the presentation at. I typically go look for 1920 by 1080 graphics because all of the presentations I do end up being recorded in HD, and it works out well. In terms of additional things, no, let's not talk about this one now because this one will drive you crazy. Drive me crazy. In the only thing that you can embed in a presentation and have it pop in a lightbox is a link to a Kumu lightbox. Nothing else pops in a lightbox. You can include links to other things in a text slide, though if you link to anything that's a Kumu entity, it will display on the same page that you're doing a presentation on, so one will lose their context. So if you're going to do a link to anything that is part of the Kumu context, you need to use this long form in terms of A equals A. It's actually HTML code, so that you reference that whatever Kumu thing you want to connect to, target equals quote underscore blank, then the label, and then the less than slash asterisk A greater than, and that will show this kind of a link, and when you click on it, it will open it in a new window. Now, additionally, the other kinds of things that you can have, additional kinds of slides, you can put in a slide from the actual map or the project itself, and you can use whatever text it already exists on some element, either an element, a connection, or a loop. Or you can go ahead and say, I want to put in a different title for this, some other title, and it shows up on top. And if you go ahead and also add some text, then it moves the title off to the profile page on the side and adds the text here, so that depending upon how you want to display this, you could just use this to create a new title for the part of the model that you display, and you could move this over and put it in the center, whatever you wanted to do with it. So you have a couple of options there. And I already talked about the zoom to fit, in terms of if you're going to do a zoom to fit, make sure that you don't do anything after that except go to the next slide. There are three other types of slides that you can use. You can use a text slide, which consists of a title. This is a title, and you could leave it at that, or some text on the page, the page, and all of what you write in here is all marked down, so that you can use the bullets and the numbering and the indents and all of those kinds of things, and you can put links if you care to, as long as you subscribe to what I said previously about the kind of links that you should use. Additionally, there are two other types of slides that you can use. You can have an image slide, which allows you to get a URL, and I'm going to go grab one from from Cloudinary. When I bring this back and drop this in here, this is the URL. All right. And then I have the option to tell it that I want it to autofill this. I want the graphic to be completely contained within the space, which means it will shrink it either horizontally or vertically, depending on what's necessary to make sure that all of the graphic views that's contained, or you can tell it to cover, which means it will expand the graphic horizontally or vertically as necessary to make sure that all of the space for the presentation is covered. And then you can add a title and some text, which shows up along the bottom of the screen. So that's the image slide. The last type of slide is an embed slide, which gives you a multitude of options. You might want to simply go and find a PDF from someplace, and you want to include that PDF as part of the presentation itself, which you can do. All right, where is it? Okay, come on. This is supposed to work. Maybe I need a different PDF. What is this? This happens from time to time. Give me a PDF. Any PDF. Why can't I find one on? Article PDF. Here's one. Nature article. Whoa, what a URL. There we go. Let me try this. Let me stuff this in here. Maybe it's because of where I took it from before. Okay. There. So you can include a PDF in the presentation so that when that particular slide displays, you can be auto or full screen, and when it comes to this slide in the presentation, a person can walk through the presentation or walk through the PDF. The other alternatives for this are you might want to embed a video. So if you happen to have the URL for a video, you could then go ahead and simply put that in. Now realize that the requirement is that whatever you paste in here has to be an HTTPS. So this is an auto. Now notice that the auto is kind of small. The full screen is larger. It makes it the appropriate width. You can also get pretty fancy in terms of managing the code. Where is this? On this particular element in the storytelling with Kumu learning thread, there's a bunch of options down here that show you advanced coding for videos, for Insight Maker models, for Kumu presentations, and for Kumu projects, so that there are ways that you can embed a Kumu presentation in a Kumu presentation. You can also embed a Insight Maker simulation model right inside of the presentation, so that if I was to drop this in here like this, it doesn't need the lightbox equals full part, that's for sure. And the problem is I should be using this form that's here in terms of I want to take this iframe code like this And that's what I need to drop in there. Put that in after that, and then take the first part of this, which is this part. Sorry, it's a little complex. Take this out and put this in place of this. So I now have the code that I showed you here, this iframe code, and you can play with the width and the height to suit you in terms of how large you make it. I tend to make it a little bit smaller than the standard size so that when the presentation itself is finished, you can tell that you have something embedded in something else. So this is a fully functional Insight Maker simulation model that's inside of a Kumu presentation, which I personally think is pretty slick. You can also go so far as to, using these codes, you can embed a Kumu presentation in a Kumu presentation, or actually embed a Kumu project inside of a Kumu presentation, such as if I take this, which is a Kumu project, and I go back here and put this in place of the Insight Maker thing. Right? What you're now looking at is a fully functional Kumu project inside of a Kumu presentation. So that if I go ahead and save this and exit, tell it to publish the updates, and it'll take it a moment to process this, and then open this. When I start the presentation, this is the first page. I go to the next page. This is that title page that I was messing with. Another title page. The image page. And here is that Kumu project inside of a Kumu presentation. And notice that I said I make it a little bit smaller than the whole presentation size so that I can tell that it's an embed as opposed to something else. So hopefully that gives you a sense of all of the additional features. Sorry the video is so long, but it's a pretty powerful environment, and I've included these codes on this page. So have at it. Take care. Bye.